Hello and welcome to lesson 6 of JavaScript. My name is Mildred. In this lesson, we are going to look at strings and strings methods in JavaScript. In JavaScript, when we declare a variable and we provide a value for the variable that is between single or double quotes, that value is called a string. We write string as a text, a character, a number, whatever it is that we put between quotes is referred to as a string or is seen as a string in JavaScript. When we want to get the length or the number of characters in a string in JavaScript, we use the length property. So let's say let x is equal to text.length. And then right now we can say print x to the page. And so we get 15 as the length or the number of characters in this text. So it counts both the space that are between the text and the character. We can decide we want part of the text. We have a method called the slice method that we can use to get part of the text, and slice is written like this, slice. We indicate where to start slicing from and when to end slicing. So let's say we want to get only Mildred, the name Mildred. Counting starts at 0 in JavaScript. So we'll say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 indexes makes the name. So we want to start at index 0. We want to print to the 6th index, so we'll say 7 because the last one is not inclusive. When I save this and I refresh, I should have Mildred printed to the page. If I want to get parts, I can also use substring method like this. It is the same with the slice method, and I have the same thing. We can also use negative value if we want to start counting from the end instead of from the beginning. We can also omit the end, and what it will do is going to print from the start to the end of the string. So let's say I want to get from index 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is going to start from the R to the end of the text. And so when I refresh, I'm going to get from red's class like that. We have something called the substring str. It is like the substring, only that this time you put where you want to start from and the number of characters that you want. So let's say I want 0, 1, 2, 3. I want 4 characters. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I want it to pick up mild, M-I-L-D. So I will say start at index 0, give me 4 characters. Save this, refresh, and I will have mild on the page. So these are the 3 methods that we can use to get parts of a string in JavaScript. When, for instance, you have an algorithm to say, I want to generate a unique identifier for people who have registered. I want it to have a particular algorithm it uses. Maybe I want it to take the second letter of the last name. I want it to take the last 2 letters or the last 2 numbers of a 4-digit year of birth. I want it to also append the first letter of the sex, F for female, M for male, things like that. And so you begin to use these methods to manipulate the string entered to get the particular number you want to get. We have methods that we can use to get particular indexes of strings, and those are characters. For instance, we say we want to get the second letter of the first name, for instance. We have a method called char@, written like this. I want to get char@ index what? 1. Because 0 is the first index, 1 is the second index. So I'm going to get I has the character at index 1. Let's say I want to get the Unicode character or the Unicode value for the character at index 1. So I'm going to say char code at like this. Save, refresh. I'm going to guess what the Unicode number is for the I value. We can replace string here. So even instead of writing Mildred's class, let's say we want to change this Mildred to a different name. Let's say we want to change this to Jane's class, for instance. We want to let x be equal to text.replace, and we are going to be replacing a particular text called Mildred's, and we want to replace it with a different text called Jane's. Now, this is what you must know about the replace method. It is case sensitive. So if I write it in uppercase, it's not going to find that. When I save this and I refresh my page, I am going to have it printed as Jane's class instead of Mildred's class. So if you have a whole text and you want to change a particular word, you can use the replace. But the thing is this, the replace will only change the first found value that is specified. If you want to change all of the value, you can use regular expression by using, we have replace. Regular expression, you don't need to quote it. And I want it to be case insensitive. I'll use // like this. And I'm going to specify Mildred in uppercase like this, right? And then I will use the I flag here to say make it case insensitive. And I want to change this instead of Jane's class to say James class. When I refresh, it applies this. But in the absence of this regular expression, it is case sensitive and it is not going to apply. If I want to change all the occurrence of Mildred here, let's say Mildred class in Mildred school, you will notice that this will only change the first found one to James and leave it at Mildred. When I refresh, it is going to leave the second one at Mildred. And I want it to change all of Mildred. I will change this to the G flag, but now it's case sensitive, so I'll remember to change this to be in the same case like this. And at this point, it's going to change all the occurrence of Mildred to James. So I'm going to be changing Mildred's class. S is in lowercase. So you see that because this was in uppercase, it did not change it. So now I put it back in lowercase and it changes everything to James. There are new methods that we can use without using regular expression to actually change this. We can use replace all instead. And instead of using regular expression, we'll leave it quoted. And we're going to be saying replace all the occurrence of Mildred with James using the replace all method. So you can either use regular expression or you can use the replace all method. We have to uppercase. If we want to say, for instance, we want to change this to uppercase, we will say it should print out x dot to uppercase like this. When I save this and I refresh my page, it's going to print this all out in uppercase. If I want it to print it out all in lowercase, I'll change it to lowercase like this, and it's going to change everything to lowercase. And so this is how we use the method. We can concatenate without using the plus sign. For instance, we have the concat method. Let's say I have a first name variable here, and the first name is Mildred. I have the last name variable, and the last name here is Ojomo. For me to print out full name, for instance, I will use the concat method to say first name dot concat, and in a pair of quotes, I'm going to put what is concatenating with. I want it to concat, putting a space first and then a comma, last name. So there will be a space between first name and the last name. I supply two arguments. I want a space. I want the last name to be added or appended to the first name. I'm printing out full name, save, refresh, and I have the full name printed to the page. So we use the concat method instead of the plus operator. We can also trim. For instance, let's say we have a space here and here. If I print out first name, I will have a space here and a space here, and I print out, so let's just put out full name. If you want to trim these spaces, right, we can come here to say let name be equal to, I want to trim the space at the start. So I'm going to say I want to trim the spaces before and after, front and back. So I'll say full name dot trim, and then it's going to take away all of the spaces around. If I want to trim only at the beginning, I'll say trim start. If I want to trim only at the end, I'll use trim end. So for you to manipulate numbers, you have to convert the numbers to string first. So let's say x is equal to 5. We want this thing to be a string, so we can use string methods on them. So I'll say let y be equal to x dot to string. So we use this method, and then y becomes a string. And so when we print out y, it will print out 5, but it's going to be of the string type, no longer a number type. And because of this, we can now manipulate y, because y is a string. Let's say I want to pad this number. I'm going to create a new variable called formatted, and what I want this to do is to pad at the start. I want it to add 2 zeros, so I'll use a number 3, so one number higher, and what I want it to add to it is zeros, and I want it to add 2 zeros before the 5. This to print out formatted. We did not specify what we are padding. We are padding y.paddStart. Save, refresh, and we have it padded 2 zeros before 5. I can do pad end, and I should add 2 zeros at the end. In save, refresh, it adds 2 zeros at the end. We can also split a list into an array. Let's say, for instance, I have things like let colors be equal to, we have red, we have blue, we have green. I want to split this list, so I'll say let my color, which is going to be an array, will be equal to colors.split, and I will tell the system what to split this on. I want it to split it on a comma, so there's a comma separated list. So when I tell you to split it on comma, I can now get it as an array. So I'll say my color. Array also starts with index of 0. I want to get the color at index 0, since it's now an array. When I save this and I refresh, I should get the first color, red. So there are 3 colors. When I say color at index 2, I should get green printed out to the page. And this is the string methods that we're going to look at. In the next lesson, we're going to look at how to search strings, and then we're going to look at number and number methods. Thank you, and see you in the next lesson.